Girl. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Gonna wait a minute and see if people come in here. Say hi. All right. So it's kind of early for me to be doing a live stream. Say hi. Hello. How you doing? But later tonight, I'm going to be doing a different kind of live stream, and I wanted to address something first before doing that. Let me see. All right, so in college, I wrote several papers about different kinds of crime, etc. And okay, I'm not blind anymore. Yay. All right, so I wrote a couple papers about mass shootings. And one thing I noticed was that there seemed to be a direct correlation between violence against women and domestic violence and racism. All of that seemed to tie into typically white men going out and shooting people. So I decided, why not do a live stream about it? Okay. So this is from Wikipedia, which in college you cannot use Wikipedia as a source, but it is interesting and it is telling. Now I only searched for... What, baby? Can you take your books in your room?
No.
No. Why not?
Because I want your books. Thank you.
Okay, well, I only searched for
Mommy,
mass
can you
shootings.
say another word?
What, baby?
Can you say another word?
Can you show me another one?
Yes.
Another one what? Book? You got like 20 books sitting there. You're silly. I only searched for mass shootings in the year 2021. All right, so this is a list in 2021.
Oh.
Baby girl, can you give me that? We're not going to play with that right now. Okay? Here, give me that. Come here. Bring it here. Here. Thank you. You can speak later, okay?
Yay, thank you, Mommy.
Okay, baby. You're so good. Can you go in your room and play?
No.
Baby, it's okay. Okay, so in the year 2021, now there's a list and it goes down all the different locations.
Mommy.
Number of injured and number of deceased. Baby girl, what's the matter? What's the matter?
A tip sweet.
Here, you want to play with this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so and there are a lot of them. There are a lot of shootings that have happened just in the year 2021. In January, there were 35, 29 killed, total number of wounded, 107, February, 41. 49 total killed. Total number of wounded, 145. That number has gone up because we have March, right? All right. So some of these are domestic violence related directly, and others are like the shootings in Atlanta and Colorado. And some might not have been reported because they were domestic violence related. Not even joking. I'm not even joking. It seems like the ones that have the most people killed are the ones that you see in the media the most. All right. So let's see. So public mass shootings are defined by 4 or more victims killed, excluding any victims who survive, which, quite frankly, I think is BS. But and there's actually a shooting tracker project. It's kind of sad that we have to have that in this country, but here we are. I'm not laughing about this. I'm laughing at baby girl who's running back and forth. Yes, you're running in the living room. Yes, you are. Okay. Hold on 1 second. So here is an article from NPR. Mass shooters often have a history of violence against women. Going back to the Atlanta spa shooting, there's a long overdue outcry against the violence and other abuses directed at Asian Americans. But now we want to focus on something else most of the victims had in common, that they were women. Thank you. 7 of the 8 victims were women, 1 white, 6 Asian. And that's not just a national problem, it's a global problem. Earlier this month, the World Health Organization released a startling statistic that 1 in 3 women around the world experiences sexual or physical violence in her lifetime. That's roughly 736 million women. In the US, increasingly, research is showing a link between those who commit violence. Baby girl. Shh. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Baby girl. The door is not a toy, and you are silly. Watch out. Watch out. Stop. Stop doing that. Where's your Okay. Watch out. Come here. Come here. Okay, finish this after I'm done. Just let me finish. Go watch that. I'll be right back. All right. Bloomberg News, for example, analyzed 749 mass shootings between 2014 and 2019 and found that, quote, about 60% were either domestic violence attacks or committed by men with histories of domestic violence, unquote. Also, there's a thread of racism that runs through there pretty heavily, and that's obvious. So they spoke with a professor, and she's the director of the Domestic Violence Clinic at Georgetown Law. She has some interesting things to say. The way this incident unfolded gives us real insight into how differently we perceive hate and violence based on race versus hate and violence based on gender. We have this 21-year-old white male shooter who murdered 7 women, 6 of whom were Asian. And when he was arrested, he made 2 statements. They were both important. First, he denied they were racial hatred, or he denied that racial hatred played a motivating role. And this immediately led the Atlanta Sheriff's Department to state that they could not yet conclude it was a hate crime. Soon afterwards, evidence came to light about anti-Asian postings on the sheriff's spokesperson's Facebook page, and the media very appropriately began to cover this incident, as you said, as a hate-based crime. And that's critically important lens through which to understand this horrific incident. It is a race-based hate crime, yes. But here's the thing. The second thing that the shooter said from the outset was that he was a sex addict and that he killed these women out of a deep sense of frustration and in an attempt to reduce the temptation that he experienced. That's a clear admission of a gender-based hate crime. Thank you. You don't have to listen to me. You can listen to the damn experts. They're telling you it was a hate crime against women, also against Asian people. Athena, stop. Because quite often, sexism and racism and homophobia and transphobia and all of the hatred goes hand in hand together. 1 second. Stop. Go watch your Kindle. Why?
Because that's you.
Well, I'm going to be with you in a second. I've been with you all day. Go watch your Kindle.
No. No.
Okay.
Mommy,
Buddy,
that's you.
I'm right here. You're silly.
Did I have a tail?
Did you what?
Did I have a tail?
Oh, okay. Don't pick those off. All right. Man, that came off easy. All right. Go play with your toys.
No.
I'll be with you in just a little bit. Okay? All right. What?
And milk.
Okay, I'll get your milk in a second.
And salad.
And cereal.
Cereal?
Okay, well, I'll get you some in a little bit. All right?
But salad.
Sherbet. Oh, okay. Well, if you go watch your Kindle, I'll get you some sherbet.
Yay, thank you, Mommy.
You're welcome.
It's a cow.
Okay, go watch your Kindle.
It's a princess cow.
Uh-huh, it is a princess crown. Okay. The conversation is locked into the racial aspect of the crime to the exclusion of the gender rather than being about both. There is unfortunately plenty of room for multiple forms of hate and hate-inspired violence. This man targeted his victims because they were Asian, and he targeted his victims because they were women. And Athena, shush. That's enough. And we have to shed light, or we have to. Athena, stop. That's enough. We have to shed the blinders that limit us to seeing the race piece, but not the gender piece of the hate. That is true. Don't pull that, okay?
I don't know why to.
Baby. All right, so the professor continues with, that takes us right back to the nexus between domestic violence and mass shootings, right? It makes sense when you consider that what motivates most perpetrators of domestic violence who are using violence in their home as a strategy to create an atmosphere of fear and intimidation and to control the women in their lives, right? Mass shooters like this one in Atlanta are doing the same thing on a much larger scale. They're subjecting a large group of people they've targeted to this same sense of terror. That motivation is parallel. It's this need to dominate, intimidate, and control other people. And he essentially admitted that was his motive. The interviewer asked a question. Activists have used the term femicide in recent years to describe this phenomenon of people being murdered, women being murdered because they are women. In some countries, it's considered a crime. I don't think this is a very commonly used term in the US, and I wonder why you think that might be, and what is that framing useful? The professor comes back and says, absolutely, it's crucial. The language we use to describe the social phenomena is important, and you're right. In other countries, when a woman is murdered on the basis of her sex, they call it femicide. In the US, that term seems like it's just too political for us to stomach. And so we use the, baby girl, we use the generic term of murder. And I think this failure Okay, find it. You know how to do it. You are smart. All right. Okay, and I think if we started to use a language that more clearly describes the problem of gender-based violence, we might be able to gain greater insight into it and advance our efforts to end it. Words have power, right? Words have power. So if a man is targeting large groups of women, that is femicide. Femicide. There's a word for it. That's what the scumbag in Atlanta was doing. He was targeting Asian women. So it's racist and it's sexist. It is femicide. And I'm disgusted with the fact that all too often law enforcement and also the media allows the offender to write the narrative of why they did or didn't do whatever thing. The offender committed the crime. They should not be allowed to write the narrative. You know, I have seen victims of violent crime investigated far more heavily to find some fault with them. Philando Castile, for example, than some of these mass shooters. It just blows my mind. It makes no sense. They should not be allowed to write that narrative. So here is another article. This doesn't actually say where this is from, but it is Violence Against Women and Public Mass Shootings. It's an article. This looks like findings from a study or a paper. Nearly half of public mass shooters between 1966 and 2020 have known histories of violence against women. Most frequently perpetrated were intimate partner violence and sexual violence. The number and percentage of public mass shooters with violence against women histories, in particular IPV, intimate partner violence, have increased over time. So this is saying that many of the mass shooters who are most likely to have domestic violence histories, those who primarily or exclusively targeted intimate partners and family members. This is due to our adoption of relatively restrictive Congressional Research Service definition of mass shooting. So they're pointing out how things are defined. And there is a violence project database of mass shootings in the US. Alrighty. This is from the New York Times. A common trait among mass killers, hatred toward women. Yes. There was one specific part that I wanted to read. Hello to everybody who's on here. If I can re-find it, that'd be great. The National Rifle Association, the nation's largest gun lobby, has opposed efforts to expand the situations in which individuals accused of abuse can lose the right to own guns, saying that doing so would deny people due process and punish people for their behavior that is not violent. What? Domestic violence is in fact violent. Rape, sexual assault, etc., is in fact violent. So if a person commits a violent crime, there is a direct correlation between domestic violence, violence against women, and if that offender owns a gun, then the chances for that victim to actually be murdered raise higher. This is ridiculous. Abuse is a form of violence. The NRA obviously have been taken over by idiots. Okay. Here's the thing. If somebody shows that they have the potential for being violent to people they care about, doesn't it make sense that they might actually extend that and become violent toward people they don't even know? If someone can't contain their temper enough and control themselves enough to be civil and calm with an intimate partner, how are they going to be with a stranger? Okay. Looks like we are back. to reconnect with where I was. That's awesome. We've been having storms here in New Orleans, so yeah. Um, the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence says measures that facilitate the removal of guns from abusers are, quote, a critical step in saving the lives of abuse survivors, end quote. And given the link between domestic abuse and mass shootings, she said, these laws may also help prevent massacres. I have been a gun owner for most of my adult life. I don't have one now, but that might be changing. I've never felt the need to have an Uzi or an AK or whatever you want to call it. I'm not having that argument right now. I don't care about that argument right now. Because those weapons are weapons of war. And what they do to a human body, I'm not even going to try to describe. It is horrifying. Your chances of surviving being shot by one of those weapons, not good. Also, you got to think, in a city like New Orleans, many of the walls here are thin. They're not the most, armored, if you will, right? So if you have an AK and it's your home defense, that makes 0 sense in a city, really. If you don't give a shit about your neighbors and the fact that if somebody does break into your house, you're stressed, your adrenaline is up, you're scared, your instincts are kicking in. Have you had enough training with that weapon? Do you really know what the hell you're doing with it? If you shoot at the person who's breaking in your house and a bullet misses and it goes into the house next door and shoots your neighbor's child sleeping in their bed, how are you going to feel about that? I always had handguns. Smaller caliber, less powerful than an AK. The chances of it, harming a neighbor or something like that lowers. I think about things that I think a responsible gun owner should consider. I'm not out here trying to, show someone that I have a large penis, is what I'm saying. Hey, Leanne, how you doing? You missed a bit, but that's okay. I had someone message me and say that I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to mass shooters and whatever, so I'm backing my shit up is what I'm doing. Let's see. The plagues of domestic violence and mass shootings in the U.S. are closely intertwined with also racism. The University of Texas Tower Massacre in 1966, generally considered the beginning of the era of modern mass shootings in America, began with a gunman killing his mother and wife the night before.
Mommy,
What, baby?
this is a message for you.
You got a message for me?
Yes.
Is that a card?
No.
That's a card. What does it say?
Find my puppy.
Okay, I'll help you find your puppy after I get done with this stream, okay?
And chips and milk and soap.
Chips, milk, and sherbet. Okay. Is that going to be your second lunch?
Having daddy, 100% happy.
Okay. Would you like a PB&J with the chips and the sherbet?
Oh, and milk too.
Okay, we can do that after this stream, okay? Okay, go watch your Kindle. Alrighty. So that's a lot of that. There's a lot of, there are quite a few. There are quite a few mass shooters who, harm their mother or significant other or siblings.
Daddy too.
Okay, baby. or, other people directly before committing an act of mass shooting. Then you have the incels. There have been a few of those as well, where they purposefully will target women. Purposefully. They purposefully target women because they hate women. Really, they hate themselves. But they take that hatred for themselves out on the women because it's the women's fault, right? Women are just supposed to give them whatever they want because, they're special and they're entitled to whatever it is that they want, i.e., women. That's going to have to be a whole different stream because that's a whole level of stupid that I can't even fucking barely wrap my brain around. Okay, here's one. In a case that highlights the so-called boyfriend loophole, in 2016, a man who had been convicted of stalking a girlfriend and had been arrested on a charge of battery against a household member shot a woman who he had briefly dated and her 3 children because the man had not been married to or had the children with the woman he was convicted of stalking. His conviction did not prevent him from having or purchasing guns. In what way were they saying I was wrong? Well, this was a manly man, and he decided he was going to mansplain to me what I obviously couldn't possibly know. Degrees, training, certifications notwithstanding. Oh, Lord, I need a pot of coffee and a pack of cigarettes right now. It's, his opinion. He thinks that I shouldn't be talking about this because I'm a woman. How can I know what men are up to? I can look at statistics. I can look at papers that have been researched and peer reviewed. To you, driveling idiot, if you ever see this, there are these things called peer reviewed papers. Do you want me to break that down for you? You can go and read them. There are articles. I mean, there were so many articles. I think I got 5 on different tabs. Like I have 5 tabs right here. And that's just a small selection. All right, you driveling idiot. Do you have a degree in criminal justice? Do you have any certifications, experience, anything, nothing? You just have a penis. Okay, right on. What, baby? Yes, I know. Here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here.
Oh, thank you. Does it go right there? That's a name tag?
Name tag? Yes. Name tag.
Okay. Thank you. You want the name tag right there?
And yes.
Okay.
Right there.
I mean, it's not going to stick. It doesn't have any sticky. You have to hold it. Oh, Lord. I think it's part of the problem, people like him. Yes, because a majority of what he said to me in that message was just sexist. It was just assumptions made about me because I am a woman. If I'm a woman, I couldn't possibly know anything about this. But here's the thing. I've actually written papers on this subject. I don't know how many. I kind of lost track for college. I've helped other people write papers on this subject. I've helped people research papers on this subject. What are his qualifications? He couldn't answer that question. He just, circumnavigated that question because obviously he didn't have any qualifications. So you can go ahead. Go ahead, baby.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, he has a pee-pee. He has a penis. I know. You can go ahead. You do? There's not very much in there, baby. We ate it all. So his penis and testicles and testosterone obviously trump my college degree, training, certifications, more training, experience working in law enforcement means nothing None of that means nothing. He has a penis. That's all that's important. Oh, Lord. Which is a level of stupid that is astounding. That is astounding. So, here we go. We're going to talk about incels. Inspiration from incels. A professed hatred of women is frequent among suspects in the long history of mass shootings in America. 1991, a man walked into Luby's cafeteria in Killeen, Texas, and fatally shot 22 people. And at that time, it was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. The gunman had recently written a letter to his neighbors calling women in the area vipers, and witnesses said he had passed over men in the cafeteria to shoot women at point blank range. So, to the person who sent me the message and said that, in effect, I'm paraphrasing, he was basically saying that women have it easy in this country. And I think it was in response to the stream about jogging. Yes, we have it so easy. It's so easy. I can go for a walk at 3 a.m. and not have to worry a damn bit about what might happen. Whenever I want, I can just go for a walk. Not even a problem. That is not true. If you believe that, you're full of shit. Just letting you know that. There is a reason I'm doing this channel. It is because domestic violence, stalkers, violence against women, majority of these three things are directed at women and women's children from men. Whatever incel BS you want to believe, that's on you. But you know what? I got facts. Facts really don't care about your feelings. Statistics, peer-reviewed papers, from actual reputable sources. Because many of the so-called stats and whatever that you quoted, I've looked them up. They're bullshit. Not one of those stats was from a peer-reviewed anything. Oh, baby. Oh, sure. And it's raining right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's March in New Orleans. It's okay. Everything's fine. Here. I know. You better enjoy that because we only have like 4 of them left. Go ahead. Umbrella? We're in the house. We don't need an umbrella, but you are smart. Yes, you are. Yeah, I think that person is sadly mistaken. Yeah, it was just a lot of misogyny, sexism, dribble, just more of the same. I wasn't surprised by it. But when I bring facts, when he brings BS and I bring facts, and then he counters that with nothing, that's what he tried to come back at me with, his stats and whatever. No. Okay. Trust me, I'm going to bring reality. I forget the name of it now. I have it in my research. There's a guy who was, he's considered a god among the incels, and he creates a lot of lies. You can't call it misinformation. You can't call it whatever, fake news. It's not. It's lies. That's what it is. So, according to people like this, all women just want to trap men into relationships with like sneakily having babies and welfare and child support and all this bullshit. It's just sexism. That's all it is. That's it. So if you want to come back at me, you better bring some real facts that I can look up and verify. There you go, baby. Otherwise, you're just proving that you're a dumbass. And you've already lost any debate you were trying to have. It's done. You've lost. Okay. Quote, even some of the incidents that people don't know about or aren't really familiar with now or don't come to mind, there definitely is a thread of this sexist, racist anger and misogyny. Mhm. Um, a professor of criminal
Can I have
justice.
another one?
Sure. A professor of criminal justice
Thank you,
at.
Mommy.
I don't even know how to say that word. Hold on.
Thank you, Mommy.
You're welcome, my baby. You are the luckiest 3-year-old in the world right now.
Can we have... Emma, can you put it there?
Sure, but you have to be very careful with those, okay? What? Yeah, okay. Okay, just be careful. All right, Worcester State University, who worked with the FBI to study the motivations of mass gunmen. There's a man, maybe this dude bra would listen to an expert who is a man. Because obviously he doesn't want to listen to women. Because when I suggested listening to Laura Richards, who's an expert in this, he was like, blah, 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 blah. Yes, there are actually women experts in this field who've worked with the FBI and whatnot. Scotland Yard. Oh boy. In recent years, a number of these mass shooters have been identified as so-called incels, short for involuntary celibates, an online subculture of men who express rage at women for denying them sex, and who frequently fantasize about violence and celebrate mass shooters in their online discussion groups. What? Don't shut your door. He can't dismiss experts simply based off sex. Well, I mean, yeah, but Laura Richards, she has a vagina. Oh my God. Apparently, if you have a vagina, you don't also have a brain. It's pretty amazing. That's sexism.
Can I have another one?
Sure. When you downplay
Mommy.
a woman and her intelligence based only on the fact that she has a vagina, you're sexist. Those are
Thank
shells.
you, Mommy.
Here you go, baby. All right, go on.
Thank you, Mommy.
You're welcome, baby. So yeah. Okay, so a lot of these guys, I don't want to say their names. The shooting in Isla Vista, California, the scumbag who committed that mass shooting, killed 6 people, 2014. He did this a day after posting a video entitled Scumbag's Retribution. In it, he describes himself as being tortured by sexual deprivation and promises to punish women for rejecting him. So he's got the problem. It's his problem. But he's not going to, human up and actually fix it himself and fix himself to make himself maybe not so much of an asshole so that women actually want to interact with him. No, he's going to instead punish women for him being a douche. Not to mention that many, many incidents go unreported. Yes. Yes. There's a lot of that. Lord. Yeah, I'm going to have to do another stream on incels because that's a whole different, well, not really different, but that's a depth of entitlement and whininess that is actually kind of astounding. Yeah, so there's a lot. I mean, it was hard to nail down like just 3 or 4 articles to look at and point out because there were so many, and they're good. This is from Mother Jones. That's my tea. You can drink some of this though, okay? We'll drink that later.
Yay, thank you, Mommy.
No problem, baby. All right, this is the last one. This is it. Enjoy it. All right? Yeah. Sorry about the noise. There you go, baby. All right, that's it. Wait, there's one more. All right, so apparently there are news media outlets that are keeping a database of mass shootings. This is from Mother Jones. Quote, Mother Jones' in-depth database of mass shootings reveals a stark pattern of misogyny and domestic violence among attackers. Also racism, homophobia, transphobia, all of that. This factor is already relatively well known in cases where men gun down intimate partners, children, and other family members in their own or other people's homes. There's also a strong overlap between toxic masculinity and public mass shootings, according to our latest investigation. Among the 22 mass shooters we analyzed, 86 had a history of domestic violence, 86%. 32% had a history of stalking and harassment. 50% specifically targeted women. Yeah, she's really good with manners and all of that. They ranged in age from 19 to 59. Okay. Yeah, so, and everything that I'm seeing, and these are just the articles, these are not the papers and stuff like that that I've looked at. I actually reached out to a few people who wrote papers on this subject because I'd rather have their permission to quote their papers. Which particular group? Hey, what are you doing? Do you want to put that in your room? Because we can. I have to wash it down though. You want to take some stuff in your room? Go ahead.
Okay.
All right, so now that the pandemic seems to be winding down a little bit, right? What are you seeing? You're seeing an increase in mass shootings again. And you're seeing an increase in men who are lashing out because they feel like, shit you not. Here's the thing. If women's rights are respected and minority people's rights are respected, people of color's rights are respected, and they are treated with equality and equity, it does not mean that you, a white man's rights, are going to be taken away. All people can have equal rights and equity within those rights at the same time. If you're worried as a white man that you're going to have fewer rights because women and people of color are treated with more respect and equality and equity, then you have a fucking problem. That's my response to you. I'm not going to message with you anymore. You're a fucking idiot. That's the reality. And no, I'm not sorry for saying that. The stats you quoted were nothing. They were you'd have more substance from the smoke from incense than what you were spewing.
1, 2.
Yes, you do. You have two.
And we have. And what's that called?
I don't know.
Maybe it's robots.
could. Those are robots right there. Yeah. Can you take them in your room?
Yes.
Show them your table. Yeah, I mean, he was not the brightest crayon in the box. You know, when I asked him to quote from peer-reviewed papers, you know, provide you say you're coming with receipts, right? You say you're coming with stats and whatever, blah blah blah, but you can't provide me the link to the papers or the stats or where you got them or whatever. Then that's nothing. So that I think they're coming from a place of fear. They say they're hey shh. They say they're not emotional. You're not supposed to be emotional if you're a woman. You're just being emotional, whatever. But in reality, they're coming from a place of absolute terror. Athena, baby girl. Shh. Okay, but go in your room and sing, okay? It's just straight up fear. They're afraid. They're afraid that they will be treated the same way that they treat women and people of color. If women and people of color have equal rights and equity and all of this and that, they're afraid of how they'll be treated then. I don't know if it's subconscious or what, but they don't want to be treated the same way. But if they're afraid of losing their rights, there's an admission that they are actually repressing others. Yes, thank you. This guy was like incapable of grasping that concept. like, baby girl, I'm doing a live stream right now. I can't be quiet. Also, it's not nice to say that like that, okay?
No.
Do you want me to turn your Kindle back on?
Yeah.
Well, give it here and I'll turn it back on.
I got coins.
Yes, you do.
And
yeah, so
what they caught.
what is your Kindle doing?
What is Mickey doing?
I don't know. So, yeah, I don't mind people messaging me and asking me questions or even disagreeing with me. That's fine. You can disagree all you want to. Facts don't care about your disagreeing. Statistics don't care about your disagreeing. like, so, and this guy seemed to have a huge problem with me pointing out actual valid facts. Yeah, shush. Actual valid facts from like the CDC, the WHO, Lord, FBI. I mean, there are so many places where you can find actual valid statistical facts, peer-reviewed papers. He was trying to, but it wasn't working because I have no tolerance
Mommy.
for any of that.
Ow.
I don't know what your Kindle is doing, baby. We'll try this. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm just sitting there reading his message. Like, really, this is just more of the same. It's just more sexist, racist, misogynistic drivel. There's really nothing unique or new about what he was saying. I've heard it all before. So, your Kindle is acting mighty weird, and I think that might be the weather.
Oh, okay, Mommy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
she have arrow. Maybe I have. Maybe.
I will fix that in a minute. Can you go in your room and play?
No.
No. Hey, what? Hello? I'm not sure if that's, like, which part is your name and which part is you speaking, but what? So, yeah, so, with, what baby? With many of these mass shooters, at some point I'm going to do another stream. Hopefully, the people who wrote these papers will reach back out to me and give me permission to quote from their papers, because, man, there are a couple papers that are really good. Most women are only... Aye, stop. Okay. Most women are only recent has that number moved because the ones... Gender violence is a sad thing, but I agree, true. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's directly out of hand. There... Aye, Nishna. No. I mean, there are cases of, a woman leaving a gas station and she rejects a guy and he shoots her in the head. NRA needs to be more of a solution. The NRA needs to get all of their collected heads out of their asses and realize that there is a problem. And Reagan, if you look back at the history, Reagan, if I'm not mistaken, outlawed AKs and other weapons like that. So why are they so against it? They love Reagan so much. They should be for it. I don't know. They just ignore that bit. Guess that's not helpful to them. So, take that in your room. There you go. Yeah, like the NRA, they seem to be trying to do everything they can to, I've been a gun owner most of my life. I don't hate guns. I just hate gun violence. There is a difference. So, yeah, she says hi sometimes, but I don't really want her on here too much. So there have been 103 mass shootings in the U.S. so far in the year 2021, but this is a somewhat old article, so it's higher now. So now, one thing I've noticed too is that if you are a white guy and you commit an act of mass shooting, you're typically going to be caught and arrested. I have a baseball bat for that, right? I have swords, so. Reagan had anti-American policies in my view. Yeah, I agree with that. Hey. Shh. That's loud. Remember? Quiet. Katana. No, I have actually usable weapons. Boulder assault weapons ban blocked in court 10 days before the mass shooting. Nice. It's not a good look at all. So yeah, wasn't planning on this stream being too long because baby girl You all right? Okay, go in your room and play. Go. Okay. I love you. Go in your room. Thank you. Good job. All right. What's the matter?
No.
Okay, in just a minute.
I'm serious.
Milk, sherbet, and cereal? That's a weird combination. All right, so I'll probably come back on later. Tonight we're supposed to do a live stream for Elsa.
Hi, everybody.
But so yeah, when Marcus gets home, obviously it'll be a little bit easier for me to live stream. So, oh, that was a good catch. That was a good catch.
Okay, good catch. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, y'all. This is going to be another one. Obviously, there'll probably be reoccurring because America, sadly. It's good to see you, Leanne and Mir. If I try to pronounce that whole thing, I would probably say it wrong. So, what movie actress? Anywho, yeah, it's good seeing you. If you're on later, I should be doing a live stream. All right, y'all. I will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
You're so sweet.